Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us online here this evening, where we are going to delve into questions, advice, and different tips from an international body transformation expert. We're joined this evening with Julian Naidoo. Julian, good evening. Thanks for joining.
Good evening, Elliot. Thanks for getting me on your show. Hi there, Elliot. Hello.
I tell you what, I'm gonna introduce you again there, Julian, because we got a little bit of logged onto YouTube. There we go. Sorry, as I was saying, good evening, Julian. How are you doing?
Good evening, Elliot. I'm well, and yourself? How's the day?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting at home here. I'm finding that when it comes to fitness and health conversation, things, as they are doing very rapidly at the moment, have changed over the last few weeks, particularly in the sense that we kind of went the end of January, beginning of February, as COVID started warping the world very quickly. I think we all started realizing that we were going to wind down the way in which we go to gyms. And we went through a few weeks where suddenly we weren't at gym, thinking we might be going soon, wondering whether or not our respective countries would be here. And I can see online we got a few people in South Africa joining us this evening. We got a few people logging on. I'm recognizing some names from London, a few from Israel as well. And in our respective places, gyms started shutting down all of a sudden like that. Everyone who had a gym membership became an online fitness expert and a home workout expert very quickly. I think we've all seen the serious, the innovative, and the funny videos of people working out from home. And now I think the conversation has changed a little bit, which is what we're going to address this evening. And we got a few questions. Well, quite a few questions have already been sent in by some of our viewers this evening, and we got live chat to everyone watching. So please post your comments in the chat as we discuss this live. We're going to answer all your questions this evening, because I think some people are staying fit at home. We got some people who are keeping healthy. We got people like myself who are gym obsessive, really into our fitness, and we're doing damage control. We're not staying fit. We're not going disastrously unhealthy either. But it's really just damage control as we drastically wind down the amount of health and fitness stuff we do. We got a load of people being totally unhealthy, who've had to totally switch it off, who have lost motivation, not going to gyms. And then we've also got loads of people who suddenly have the time, who have the online motivation, who are suddenly being more health conscious, who suddenly have gone totally the other way, and from not really being very health or fitness orientated, or at least not dedicated with time out of their day, suddenly we've got people who are doing home workouts. And I'm sure here in sunny South Africa, well, it's not sunny this 7 o'clock this evening, but with our beautiful weather and our restrictions being eased off slowly, you're now seeing an unbelievable number of people hitting the streets every morning between 6 and 9 a.m. And it's quite amazing to see the number of people who are suddenly keeping super fit. So we're going to ask you a load of questions on that, Julian. But first, before we do, need you please to explain, who are you, why, and how have you become an international body and training transformation expert?
I'm Julian Naidoo. I've come across in this industry from 1993 myself as a fitness enthusiast. Then went on to 1998, 99, assisting my first 3 clients, which went on to become world champions and placing top 3 in the world in bodybuilding competitions. I even had Mr. Never SA, Mr. Never Universe, Mr. Never World under my belt. Over that time, I've managed to transform hundreds, if not close to 1,000 of people. I work with a lot of corporate execs, as well as the fitness enthusiasts and the housewives. So I cater for all people around the world from all walks of life.
And that's right, and including myself, of course. I should give now as a disclaimer that I am personally a very satisfied, at least ex-client of Julian. Given my international moving around, we're going to wait and see how much more training. But I must say, as a matter of credibility, having trained with you for the best parts of 9 months, that and this was off the back of having trained with some other series professionals, you put me through an amazing personalized transformation, which helped me gain an amazing amount of muscle compared to where I was previously. I'm now slowly moving it, putting away all the other work that all the great benefits you gave me during lockdown. But I mean, the personalized attention you gave me, the way it transformed me so quickly, is quite amazing. So with that, I think we're going to dive straight into the questions we got for you, Julian, because we've got quite a few questions. They're coming from, we're going to start off with the first one, quite a general one, which is from Ben in London, who Ben wanted to ask you as his first question. I think this is relevant to all of us. He says, on my first shopping trip to my sports shop, I won't mention which sports shop he mentions, he says, what should I get? This is Ben, who I can tell you, knowing who Ben is, he plays football occasionally, he's in shape, he's not a fitness enthusiast. What should we do when the shop's open and the floodgates open? We can go buy some fitness or workout equipment from those sports shops. What's the number one?
Well, it depends how much of budget you have. I would say a skipping rope and some resistance bands to start off with. Thereafter, budget restraint or budget allowance, we go and get some dumbbells, a bar, and some free weights and a bench if possible. But you can do a lot with resistance bands.
Do a lot of resistance bands. I'm glad to hear that. So as you know, I've got a few resistance bands. They've become core to my training now. That segues us into a question from Tobocho. Tobocho in South Africa asks, how fit can I anyway get with lockdown? I think that's a good question for, regarding where you're coming from in terms of fitness. How fit can we actually get and stay while we're locked down at home with restricted movement and equipment?
Well, it also goes about as to where we start. From where he starts and how much effort he puts into it will determine how fit he gets. If that makes sense. If you have a skipping rope,
tell us. Let's say for example, we got your average Joe who does his 7,000-8,000 steps a day. Can I get fitter at home? Can I gain muscle, or am I just going to be doing, as I said, damage control while we're locked up at home?
Well, I would definitely say increase your fitness and damage control, as well as maybe some fat burning. It's a bit tougher to put on muscle during these circumstances, but the main thing I would say to exercise and keeping fit while you're at home is the mindset. If you have a positive mind, you will cope with the whole scenario and whole situation going forward.
Okay. Now you've taught me that, and everyone knows the saying that that your six pack is made in the kitchen and uncovered in the gym.
Definitely.
And we're not ordering our food in so much at the moment. We're cooking a lot of food. We're stocking up our shelves with our long life food, and we're trying to avoid going into the shops. So, can you tell us, first of all, this is a question that's coming from Simon, also from London, asking, what are your tips or guidelines for diet while social distancing? What are your tips? What's the basic things we need to watch out for while we're shopping less and staying at home more?
Well, you can definitely go for some canned tuna, stock up in your proteins, and some rice, pasta, things that you can keep in the cupboard. Your veggies will be stuff that you have to buy weekly. That will be it. But stay away from the junk. Stay away from crisp, chocolates, those things. Stock up on essentials. Your proteins, being chicken, fish, meat that you can deep freeze. I would say go for that and go for some quality carbohydrates.
I'll tell you what, maybe you can list a few of those things for us, a few of our essential fats and proteins, and what should we be stocking up on?
All right. So on your fat side, instead of avo, go for olive oil, go for avocado oil, right? Use margarines, your nuts. So on your nuts is healthy fats. You get almonds, cashews, walnuts, peanuts, but stay away more from peanuts. The best source of nuts for me would be walnuts because it's got much lower carbohydrates than all the other nuts that are healthy. As far as the protein goes, I would go with whole eggs, canned tuna, chicken breast, lean steak or mince, some fish, that can be frozen as well. This is the age you have to keep out. But those are things that do last. On your carbohydrate source, our sweet potato has a shelf life. Whereas your rice, your pastas, you can keep it away. So I'd go for those type of carbohydrates. Cook in advance, store in the fridge, dish as you need. If you're prepping food every twice a week, Sundays and Wednesdays, you'll be sufficed.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw in a few questions there myself now, because when it comes to not only what you eat, we also have the question as to when you eat, because now we're still living somewhat active lifestyles, but differently. I think many of us are finding ourselves taking many more daily trips to the kitchen, taking a peek into that fridge. So just as an example, we've now got about 60-something people, well, 63 people watching on a different platform. So just as an example, Julian put together a fitness plan for me a few months ago, and it tells me not only what to eat, it tells me when to eat specific things, right? But Julian, I want to ask you, now that I'm not getting up early in the morning, going to gym, running between meetings, and my daily schedule's changed. Supposing I'm stuck at home, and I don't want to get peckish during the day. Don't want to find myself going to the taking a peek in the fridge too many times. When should I eat during the day? And more importantly, how can you arrange our diets so that I'm not gonna do that?
Okay, great. So what happens is, let's take it from here. If you're training in the morning, you're gonna train in the morning, I'm assuming. Post workout, you go with something with fats and proteins and veggies. Thereafter, you'll have a lunch meal and a dinner meal. So you would cut down to about 3 meals, depending on your needs now, and have snacks in between. But your snacks, you should be changing around a bit, staying more to low-calorie food. So it is choice again, because you can't be calorie-dense foods. So the options are to go more with less calories or low-calorie food groups when preparing your meals. So that way you will be within your calorie needs for the day, based on your exercise output as well as your movement.
Okay, and we got a question coming in on that live from Adrian, I believe a long-term client of yours, and also admin and founder of the Iron Tribe group, for which we have quite a few members online at the moment. Adrian's asking, what is your view on the cheat reward meal a week? So first of all, can you explain what this cheat reward meal a week system is, and how do we do this now during lockdown?
Well, they call it cheat reward meals. Some people refer to it as refeed, cheat meal. It's all a sanity process, but I think if you're well within your diet and your focus and your needs, your calorie restriction changes during time. If you do need it for a psychological purpose, I would say reward yourself. What I normally used to do was give it to a client based on a weak body part. So say if you train a major muscle group, I'll reward you. But it should be only done once in a while at one meal. You don't really get a cheat day. Some people make that mistake of saying, no, it's a cheat day. You have a whole day. No, keep it to one meal and earn it.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question now, Jules. This next question is coming in from Danny. He's asking about vitamins and shakes. He says, what can I take regularly, and what should I be taking as backups or as supplements? And I think this is an interesting topical question right now, because we've all seen globally, we've seen all our pharmacies that were stocked very nicely with your vitamin C's and D's and B's. I know that since I first met with you, you started advising me for exactly the same reasons people are advertising them now, why to take specific vitamins, be it as supplements, be it as a boost to your immune system. So can you tell us on that, seeing as most of us are quite new to taking them in this way? Which vitamins, which of these protein shakes and supplements should we be taking regularly, and what's healthy or good for bodybuilding to have in your home as your backup or part of your diet?
Well, Elliot, if you're eating a balanced nutritionist performance plan or meal plan, you should be getting all your macros and your micros as most as possible. And with this new structure that I've created, where based on every diet, I get insights onto what micronutrients, which are your vitamins and minerals, are provided by your food groups. So based on that and your optimal performance intake needed for optimal performance of life in lifestyle as well, you only have to top up on certain vitamins that are shortfall. right? And be it that way, I did see vitamin C is needed, antioxidants, vitamin D is very, very much in need because we're out of the sun most of the time, so we don't get enough vitamin D. A calcium, magnesium, and a zinc. Those are type of essentials, I would say.
Okay, and I think we can also celebrate the fact that during this lockdown, and as we have our viewers are mostly watching from the UK, from South Africa, and from Israel, I think we can all celebrate that all three of those countries are right now having outstandingly nice weather for this time of year, especially London, which rather than having its rainy traditional weather for this time of year, has had an amazingly hot few weeks. So that's great. Julian, we got a question. It's another more general question asking, what are your tips for working out from home while in lockdown? So maybe just give us a few more general tips. And of course, I think I should just to re-invite our viewers who have joined in the last few minutes. Julian Naidoo, body transformation coach and international expert, is answering a few questions. This one going to attain to some working out from home tips. And just to clarify, as what Julian introduced himself as before, Julian is much known for training some international bodybuilding champs. So that's a sort of, sort of physique that you might be instructing or guiding here. So what should we do? What are your tips? And while you're doing that, I'm going to enjoy one of my protein shakes.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is to stay consistent, right? Put in the same effort every day, making sure you're getting calories burnt up. You can do stretching. Stretching is a very good workout because it does burn a lot of calories. Yoga, but focus on some kind of cardiovascular training. Get the heart pumping. You can do step ups, you can do burpees, you can do skipping. There's a lot of things that anyone can do, even without equipment. So I would say an hour a day minimum, but train every single day.
Okay. And I know, of course, when you say an hour a day, I know you've advised me personally to split that up throughout the day because I'm at home. I've got kids driving everybody mad. I've got working from home, which is far more engulfing than when I usually go into the office. And without time at the gym, I just don't have the time for an hour-long workout. So I'm breaking it up into 2 or 3 shorter workouts during the day. Probably not doing as much cardiovascular workouts as you might advise. Julian, got another question coming in. You've kind of focused on this before, but now we've got a question: which proteins should I be eating specifically to build muscle? And we also have Fiona saying, "How's it, boss?" And we've got a few more questions coming in while we're talking, Julian. So this question back to dieting, specifically for someone who wants to be building muscle while working from home under lockdown restrictions.
Well, basically they were talking or asking what protein is the best. There's no one specific source that's the best. If you take it, you need a variety of proteins to make sure that you get an optimal amino acid profile throughout the day. So your chicken would have amino acids or be higher in amino acids than your fish or your red meat. But the most complete protein source for me was an egg, a whole egg. That is equivalent to the same levels as your whey protein. So I would go with whole eggs. It's economical as well. That is why in my clients' diets, you would see I have at least one whole egg, even if I give you egg whites.
Okay, there's a few there. We've got another question coming in from Damien asking, Damien asking, "What's up, guys?" He says, "What are the best whole foods we can ingest for each macronutrient? For example, oats, carbs, eggs and proteins, amino acids." So he's specifically asking on your whole foods, which you kind of touched on now, but maybe let's just go over a few more.
Yeah. So I would definitely look at 3 to 4 different protein sources, animal protein sources. I like chicken, fish, eggs, whole eggs, some dairy, but more stick to chicken, fish, and whole eggs. Red meat is a bit higher in fat, higher in calories. So people that struggle to lose body fat or carry a bit more extra body fat, you don't want to go with that. Because if you look at the two equivalencies, 100 grams of chicken is not the same calories and macros as 100 grams steak. If you get what I mean. So you can't say like for like. That is why you see clients go over from red meat to chicken or fish. they lose body fat and lose weight because they're in a deficit from where they were. So that's on the whole food side there, on your protein sources. On your carbohydrate sources, something that's very interesting that most people might not be aware of is pasta. Pasta is a low glycemic index, but it's also a complex carbohydrate. So it's a very good carbohydrate source to have.
Is that any pasta, or are there pastas we should lean towards or stay away from for our?
Always lean towards your whole wheat on the pasta side. A bit more fiber in that. But look, for anyone that wants to eat healthier, and the only options they do have is normal pasta, I will definitely take it over white bread.
Okay.
So,
we've got another question coming in here, interesting one, because as I think not just health and fitness, everyone is gearing up for our gradual return to normal life, whatever the new normal life is going to be. So, yes. So the question we got here from Doron is, how should I change my workout when we go back to gym? So I think what Doran's asking here is, we're soon going to go back to gym. We've had a bit of time off, been doing at least damage control. I hope some people getting much fitter, some people staying very fit. But when we go back to gym, what change? And we're asking you this because you have such a scientific understanding of the way the body grows and repairs scientifically on a chemical level, which people should, of course, contact you to delve more into and see how they can use it for them. How can you personalize your expertise towards them? But when we go back to gym, hopefully very soon, what do we need to do? What do we need to change? How can we be safe?
Okay, where are we going from, first and foremost? Are we still exercising to maintain in the current situation, or are we taking a break?
I think when we go back, at the moment, I think most viewers are somewhat at least taking a bit of a break at the moment. And I think when we go back to hit the gym, I think Doron wants to know, when we go back from at least a very significant slowdown, or how can we get back into things and get mega fit again?
Well, definitely, first and foremost, I would say focus on your cardiovascular system. Without a powerful and fit cardiovascular system, you can't have an intense workout, because you will be out of breath between sets for minutes. Like, say, for instance, you go from nowhere and you go and try and do heavy duty or high intensity workouts. You're not going to recover that fast, oxygen capacity wise, between sets, in order to keep that intensity going non-stop. So cardiovascular fitness is very, very, very important. People should realize that.
Okay, so I'll tell you what, Julian, I don't want to cut you off. We do have quite a few more questions, but we've gone over our 20-minute goal to pick your brain with a few questions. And I think now that you've given us some words of advice on, first of all, what to buy, what to eat, when to eat, working out from home, what we need to work out from home with, vitamins and supplements. And you've also touched on how we should get ready to return to gym when we go back from most people are probably on a slowdown, and you're going to have some, I'm sure you're going to have quite a few clients aggressively punishing those weights at gym as soon as the floodgates open, if they do, be it fast or slow. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. What I do want to say for Julian, for our viewers watching, and we are now on 71 viewers watching on 3 different platforms on a few different live streams. I'd like to say, without trying to abuse the platform too much, as an ex-client of Julian's, that Julian is a real international expert with a massive scientific understanding on body transformation. And I would like to encourage people watching online that you should get in touch with Julian. Get in touch with Julian for your consultation. Chat with him about what your lifestyle is like. Personally, he helped me put on about 6 kilo of muscle. And I know, of course, when you put on muscle, Julian also made sure that my muscle intensity, my body mass, and my general health was well taken care of as well. We are going to have some more online conversation, some without Julian. For example, we have upcoming. We're going to be having a session with Edlin Surge, who's known in South Africa for his book Wealth and Health, which focuses on health and healthy eating in a different sense, largely geared towards towards fighting disease and affordable health as well. He has a best-selling book here in South Africa. But I'd like to encourage anyone who wants to get in serious shape to take my recommendation. Having done this with Julian, He'll write you the most fantastic personalized plan, and it will be an absolutely tailored, top-class experience. So, Julian, I want to thank you very much. Have you got anything else to tell our viewers before we log off? Any other closing words, closing remarks?
Well, my closing remark would be to keep your mind in the right frame of mind during this time. Be safe. Mind is everything. Mind is over matter. If you keep that mind right and keep yourself in a positive state, you're going to accomplish anything, and you'll be at a good space to go back into your fitness level. Take care, guys. Cheers.
Guys, I want to thank Julian Naidoo very much again for joining us, sharing some of his expertise. Do pick his brain and get in touch with him. You can either hear in the chat below or follow him online at JLabs. And guys, stay fit, get healthy, get fitter, and make sure we come out of this lockdown feeling absolutely powerful. Have a great evening. Thank you very much again, Julian.
Great stuff. Thanks, Elliot. Ciao.